Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome everybody. I'm so glad you guys were able to make it and were able to find the link. And what's up, Mark? How's it going? Steve, Victoria, I see you guys. All right, so I got a I got an email from Jessie, and she was asking about actual video she saw of me and Bob, and so I thought I would start today's call with that. She wanted to know like a manifestation story and how that happened, and so I'm gonna tell you guys how it came to be, and if you guys haven't seen it, it's on YouTube or whatever, or I can send you guys a link if you want to see it. Um, so what I want to do is just show you guys like the process of manifestation, because this is a really good manifestation story, and so you can learn the things that actually happen in the process and all the steps. And like Bob always said, he would always quote Steve Jobs that you can't see you can't connect the dots going forward, but you can connect them going backwards. So when Jesse sent me that email, I got to reflecting on how all that happened and how it was like all of these little things that needed to take place in order to for it to happen. And so the first thing is the goal, is the vision, right? So that happened a few years back, more than like 5 years, 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And so at the time is when I started working with Bob, right? And I got into business, and you guys had to remember back then, the person I was, right? Like introvert, very quiet and shy. And I was working as a systems engineer, and I was in the lab, or like a room all by myself, like 8 hours a day, right? And just doing what I had to do there. And so the personality that I had to become wasn't there yet, right? And so I want to talk about that, like the so when it comes to your manifestations, and this is what most people don't understand, and is what I want to give to you guys. It's like the the like we have to overcome all the limiting beliefs that we hold in order to allow the things that we want to come into our lives. So I hope to show you guys like all the things that I had to change, all the beliefs I had to change, because I had all these beliefs about like worthiness and my value, and like money paradigms, and people paradigms, and sales, and and all of this stuff, right? So when I started working with Bob, right? So all of that was a manifestation in itself, and I'll tell that story to you guys some other day. But once I started working with them, like I needed clients, right? And like I said, so I come from like an engineering background. Where I wasn't, I was working with machines. I wasn't talking to anybody. And so that, kind of like in my mind at that time, it was like, okay, I gotta overcome this. But I knew enough to set goals, and I knew enough to imagine and envision it. And so what started to happen was like I said, okay, I wanna manifest 15 clients. I want to start out with 15 clients. And so I started to imagine that, right? I started to visualize that. I started to get into that spirit, that energy of having 15 clients in my business, right? And so I started to play that for a couple of weeks, and then like I was naturally doing all the right things. Like I will visualize, and then I'll get to work. And get to work for me at the time was literally going to a job that I had. You know what I mean? I wasn't looking for it. I was just doing my mind work. I was preparing my mind and my emotions to just to unfold naturally. Now that I can connect the dots back, going backwards, I could see how really good I did all of this. And at the time, it didn't, maybe I didn't feel like that. At the time, there might have been like some frustrations or some, um, like overwhelming feelings, like why isn't this working, all of that stuff, right? I had to go through all that stuff too. So what ended up happening, I was like really, I set a goal. I was very clear on what I wanted. I wanted an amount of money, right? And that amount of money gave me 15 clients. Like if I was to enroll 15 clients, then I will have that amount of money. So that's how the goal started getting clear, right? And at that time, I would during my lunch breaks, I would go out and I would jog, right? And around that building where I used to work at, there was a strawberry field. There were strawberry fields. And so I used to run through that whole thing, and it was really nice. It was on dirt, and I love like the smell of strawberries, like running through that. And I always would listen to inspirational music, like epic music, like on YouTube. And as I told you guys, one of the on Napoleon Hill, he talks about one of the mental stimulants is music. And so I would go out there and run. A lot of it was just to motivate me to do my run. But in that moment when I was running, that's when the idea came. I got an idea in my head and I accepted it immediately to, if I had a video with Bob, Bob just telling people like, hey, this is Jose Zamora, and I'm working with him. And if you want to improve your results, you can start working with him because I've been teaching him. Like that's the idea that came to me, right? And so I'm running in these fields, in the dirt, and these strawberry fields, right? But I'm running and I get this idea. I remember like just literally stopping, right? And just thinking like, that's it. Like if I can get Bob to make a video with me, like I know I can get 15 clients, right? And I just believed that immediately. And so I was like, all right, now I know what to do. And I just began to run, right? And soon right after that, like that's when doubt creeps in. So this is like, I'm new to all of this. Bob, like I've been working with Bob like on the coaching program. I've been sending him questions. He's been answering. Bob's working with thousands of people. I doubt he knew like really who I am. And so I never really met him in person. Um, I at the time, that's what I'm thinking. Like he doesn't know me. And so how am I gonna make this video happen? Like I'm in California, he's in Canada, right? Um, I know eventually I'm gonna meet him though, like at an event or some training or something. So that's where the idea really comes from, right? But I really don't have any clue on how to do this. And that's why I'm telling you guys this story, because a lot of times we get stuck on the how. Like, how are we gonna do this, right? So right away, when I come back throughout the days, like doubt now starts seeping through. Like, how am I going to do this, right? And I start like, this is where I'm telling you this so you guys can see and pick up like what can happen and how to stay the course, how to stay faithful, how to stay um, loyal to your goal. And so like I think the negative ideas, and this is where like I knew I had to overcome my limiting beliefs, because I would have never been able to manifest the things I want if I stayed in my negative beliefs. Like some of them were like, I'm not worth the worthiness. Like, who am I? Like, right, this kid from California now is gonna make a video with this guy from The Secret, and he's gonna be telling people about me. Like, I don't know him. I don't know like how like I'm working with him, but I don't know him personally to even ask him that. That's another thing I was dealing with at the time. Um, so I grew up with, a lot of just limiting beliefs. I grew up in a very loving home, but it was a lot of limiting beliefs about being humble and not asking for anything. Um, you have to work for everything, so don't ask for things. But if you don't ask, you don't receive. So that was one of the things I was dealing with. I was dealing with worthiness. Like I said, like, who am I to ask, Bob Proctor for something like this, right? And he would say yes. Nobody else has this at that time. I didn't know anybody else that had a video like that. And so, so I was dealing with that, right? And also I was right. So like I had the vision of 15 people, but now I had the goal, right? So this is where like you kind of have to like Abraham Hicks calls this segment intending, right? So like there's the big goal, but now all of a sudden it's like you got these little goals that will lead to the big goal, right? And a lot of people miss that because now I knew that if I got this video, like, remember, whatever you believe is true, right? So you have to focus on that, and you have to believe that, like, that whatever you believe is true. So I got it in my head that this was the way for me. And so now I had to stick to it because that's what I believed, right? And so I decided, okay, this is what it's gonna be. So now I started like visualizing that too. I started seeing myself doing that video and making that video with him, right? And so like within days, I got an email from some of the Bob's people. So there was an event coming up in Texas at that time. I think it was like a Born Rich, You Were Born Rich program that he was doing. And all of a sudden, I got an email. It's like, hey, would you like to come help us? Like, if you can volunteer to help us for that event. So I was like, yes, I will. So that was like amazing, like, because it started working right away. And I said, like, this is where it's gonna happen. This is where I'm gonna ask them for 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 the for the video. And so, I was so excited, and I was like, okay, let's do this. And I go to Texas, and this is where like people and Bob and anybody that teaches about manifestation will tell you, like, something just takes over and drives you. You're gonna do things, like, sometimes it's gonna even be like out of body experience. Like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe, or why am I even doing this? From all the things, like, sometimes you're going to go places and you're going to be like, why am I even here? Right. But it's all leading you, it's all driving you. So it's all written in your subconscious mind. Right. So it's all predetermined. And it's like a movie that you created in your mind. Right. And now it's playing out in real time. And it doesn't really matter what you do here, because the movie's already written. It's like watching a movie on the screen, right? You can yell at it, you can throw stuff at it. It's not going to change. If you want to change that movie, you got to go back to the set, and that's where you change it. And so I remember walking into this, big place, where the event was held, and I was just walking through the halls, and I look around, and it's just Bob and his son, Brian. And so, like, it's like they're like 25 feet away. I'm like, so this is how we meet, right? And so, like I said, I was an introvert. I was shy. I wouldn't speak up in meetings, but all of a sudden, this new persona starts taking over. You know, of all the people that I was intimidated by at that time, especially the way I was programmed, you know, it would have been Bob. You know, this is like, you know, at the time, I remember thinking like he was like a god. You know what I mean? Like this is like, wow, like, you know, this person is like done so many amazing things. And I think in that weekend, I realized, you know, like he's just human. Like he's just a regular guy. And I remember him saying that all the time. I'm just a regular guy, but his programming was just so amazing. And so now here I am, I'm meeting him, you know, and we're just talking, hit it off, and Brian and everybody was so amazing. And so then again, fear creeps in. So now here I am. This is what I've been wanting, right? He finds out I'm a consultant, and you know, he's giving me all these encouraging words. I had an opportunity to tell him my idea about the video. I don't take it, right? I don't say anything. And at that time, right, here's the paradigm that most people have. Like I start beating myself up. I'm like, man, you just F this up. Like, here was your chance, you know, like all of these things that took place. Like, and there was so much I'm skipping, like from missing flights to all, all kinds of stuff, right? All these things that took place just for you to get here. And now you're afraid. You're afraid to take the action that needs to be taken, right? And so I think I just let it go. And I said, okay, you know, I'm still here for like whatever, 3, 4 days, 5 days I was there. And I said, an opportunity might come, right? And but I'm actually in a room with Bob, like he was signing autographs for the book, You Were Born Rich. Like I was in there with him like for 3 hours. Like I'm helping them like pull out books from boxes and stuff. And those 3 hours or 4 hours I was there, never brought it up, you know. And it was like my intuition wasn't there, you know. And this is why a lot of times I tell you guys, like, you really got to be in alignment, and you really got to be in tune, and you really got to trust yourself. And the only way to do that is through experience, is to go through these things, is to take action, is to go and really feel your way through this. Because the truth was, that wasn't the time. That was not the time to ask them. And and I think, you know, intuitively I knew that, and that's why I didn't do it. But at that time, in those moments, I was really beating myself up for not asking him. And so what ended up happening, and like I said, like, remember, I'm an introvert at that time. I'm super shy, and I've been taught not to ever ask for things, right? You know, when I was a kid, like you wouldn't ask for things. Like growing up, you know, like the money was tight, so or you just didn't. Like that's the way. Like, you know, my dad or my mom, like for Christmas, like we wouldn't ask for anything because we were taught that asking for things, like, not that they would get upset or mad. It's like it would make them feel bad if they couldn't get it, or we were being like a burden to people, right? So I had to change all of that. I had to change all those beliefs. And luckily, I'm working with Bob. I'm learning his material, and he's teaching me how to change all that, right? And so eventually, I get to talk to his son Brian a lot, and just the most amazing guy. You know, one of the best people I ever met. And I just hear myself saying the words. I still remember exactly what I told him. I said, hey Brian, would it be okay for me to even ask? Right? I'm saying, like, is this even okay for me to ask? I'm asking permission to ask um to ask your dad to make a video with me, you know, telling people about what we do here, what I do. And all I remember him saying, like his eyes were just like locked in on me. And just like I think the reason I asked, because I could feel like he was so receptive to anything I was saying, right? And all he said was like, consider it done. And I was like, wow, okay. And then he just shook my hand, and like he pat me on the back. Like I think he knew how much pressure I put on myself to ask him for this. And I think like all I just felt was relief, right? Like he was like, dude, relax, not a big deal, right? You're making it a big deal. And he never said those words, but like I could feel it, right? And that's part of the lessons too, like how we turn something into such a big deal. And so that was it. And then like 2 3 days passed and nothing happened, right? But I believed them, right? And all of a sudden I'm sitting in the conference room, and so there was another speaker going on, and somebody just comes in, one of the people that works with Bob, and he's like, hey, come here. And I'm thinking, they want me to move something, like want me to pick up something heavy, because that's what stuff I was helping them with. And they just take me to the back, and there's Bob just sitting on a couch. And he just sat me down and just talked to me for a little bit. And they had a whole thing, because I guess he was probably doing videos already for the stuff he was promoting. And we just went on there, and it just happened just like that. Took pictures. He gave me some encouraging words, shook my hand. I remember like walking out of there, and it literally felt like a dream. It literally felt like a deja vu, because I'd done it so many times in my mind, and everything happened exactly the way that I said it was going to happen, that I imagined the way it was going to happen, the way I wrote it in my mind. And I remember walking out to the balcony, because I just needed like some time just to like process everything. And it was such a big moment for me. And I remember telling myself, like, I will never doubt the power of my mind and what I can create. And the beautiful thing about it, that was just the beginning. Like, if you guys remember, like I told you, like the goal was not to make a video with Bob. The goal was to manifest 15 clients, right? So now I come back, I'm home, I have this video, but honestly, I didn't even know what to do with it. I put it up on YouTube, and guess what? Nothing happened. Nothing happened for about 2 weeks, right? And and so I remember I was like, okay, like I had set a date, and this is why it's important, just to make up your mind that you're gonna do something, and when the day comes, like just do it. And so I said, I'm starting my business on this day, and regardless, right? And I already had like a few clients, a couple of clients, and I was gonna start with them. And all of a sudden, like 2 weeks or whatever, I just started getting all of these messages, emails, texts, or whatever. And it just starts like flooding in, like, and I guess somebody saw that video and just started sharing it. And they just shared it and shared it. And I guess it went on. I think it was through Facebook too. I think I loaded up to Facebook, and on Facebook, they just shared it. And within weeks, like 3 weeks or so, I had the 15 clients that I had said that I wanted, that I started with, right? And so, and the funny thing is, like Neville, like, right, I talk to you guys about Neville all the time. Neville says, like, when it happens, it's gonna happen so naturally that you're gonna say, "Oh, this would have happened anyways," because like it wasn't really like magical. Like it didn't pop out of the sky. Like everything, I had to go through all these steps, and the process. Like I had to go through doubt. I had to go through hitting the walls with my limiting beliefs, as I said, and I had to overcome all those limiting beliefs. Like I had to believe that I was worthy enough to stand next to Bob and him tell the world that, hey, this guy, I've been teaching this guy, and this guy knows what he's talking about. I had to believe that it was possible for me to attract clients, right? Remember, I'm coming from a engineering background where I don't know anybody, right? I've been working all my life in that business, and I'm not in sales. I'm not, like, so all of these things didn't matter. Like Neville Goddard always says that, like, it doesn't matter. Like all these qualifications that men say that you have to have don't matter. Imagination will overrule all of that. And so the other thing I want to point out to you guys is that it was weeks before I even realized I had met my goal. Like I already was on, like, like doing other stuff. And I was like, hey, you know what? I already got my goal. Like I hit my goal, right? So I hope you guys get this understanding about this story and what I'm trying to tell you guys, that all things are possible to you. But you do really got to get clear. And that's why we're gonna take these couple of weeks and really get clear on what you guys want. And then I'm going to teach you guys how to really visualize scenes in your head to really activate the things that you want in your heart, and how to remain consistent with that vibration, um, working through your limiting beliefs that are going to come up, and also your environment, right? Like I had my environment going on too, right? Like, throughout that whole process, I remember it was around the time that I couldn't take time off from work, right? So even that trip was like a big old thing, because I couldn't leave because of whatever commitments I had going on at the time. And a lot of those things seem so important. Now it's like, who cares? You got to go for what you want. But anyways, guys, let's get to this lesson. And yeah.